All right, friend, good afternoon. We're going to be talking about this thing here today. You may recall, a few weeks ago, I did a video or quick video on how to level up your Sony ZV-1. Now, as I mentioned in that video, this camera is pretty good out of the box. In fact, it's more than pretty good. It's a great little camera. Now, in today's video, this is kind of the official 60-day, I've been toying around with the title, what I was going to call this video here. Half me wants to call it a 60-day review of it. Other half of me is, and this is where I'm going to lean, and this is probably the title that you responded to, I'm calling this the best budget-friendly camera for 2022. So in today's video, I'm going to explain what I find so impressive about this camera. I'm going to share with you what I don't like about this camera. I'm going to share with you the specs and features, so that way you can decide if this is the best budget camera for your needs. Now, something also I wanted to kind of bring together here. Now, when you watch this video, be very careful in terms of, it's great to watch these videos and get ideas and kind of calibrate your compass on where you want to go and in terms of where you spend your money. Now, one of the things, it's funny because I have a video coming up that I've started shooting on what's in my camera bag for 2022. And one of the lines that when I open up, I talk about, look, videos are great on YouTube in terms of people out there reviewing gear and so forth, but only you know what your needs are. And I can tell you all day long, hey, why I think this is a great camera, but that's based upon my needs and my shooting habits and so forth. Something that you need to consider before running out there making an impulse buy, even something like this, which in terms of cameras is relatively, it's inexpensive compared to a lot of other options out there. The example that I give in this other video here is look at things as kind of a tattoo. Would you run out there and buy a tattoo because somebody says it looks cool? No, well, probably you don't want to. You want to put a little thought into it. And so this goes the same way. Put down some notes, to paper to pen. Think about what you want out of a camera. Now, if you're watching this video, maybe you're after something budget friendly. Okay, that's one box. That's one thing that this thing can definitely fill. But depending upon your needs, whether from a photography standpoint, videography standpoint, many of you out there, regardless of how good of a deal, how budget friendly something like this is, you don't need it. Hell, if you have an iPhone or a Samsung, a lot of the phones these days, I mean, the videos and stills are very, very good and probably exceed most of your expectations of what you would need out of it. So again, at the end of the day, only you know what your needs are. So as you're watching these videos, and I would like to think videos from others online, really factor in, do you really need to spend your money on something like this today? Is something like this is really going to help push that progress needle forward in how you're making money or your photography or your videography? That said, my friend, we put these videos together to help you make educated decisions, help you move your photography or videography forward. Now, of course, you know where I'm leaning with this. If you find some value with this video, if you want to really do the channel a big fat solid and help us out with the whole YouTube algorithm, hit that like button down below. It really does help. That said, my friend, pull up a seat in. I didn't lean forward enough. Anyways, pull up a seat in. Let's go. As usual, we're going to get things started by discussing some of the specs and features of this camera. Okay, you're talking about a 20.1 megapixel sensor. Now, more specifically, it's a 1-inch Exmor RS CMOS sensor with an aspect ratio 3:2. Now, you have a Bonzi X image processor, 4K video at 30p or 1080 at 120p, in addition to the 8-bit log or HLG shooting modes, as well as high-speed modes up to 960 frames per second. You have a built-in Zeiss lens with a focal range of 9.4 millimeter to 25.7 millimeter, which basically equates to 24 to 70 millimeters. Maximum aperture of f1.8 at 9.4 millimeters. So at 2.8 at 25.7 millimeters. Now the lens has 10 elements in 9 groups, including 9 aspheric elements. Now the lens also has a built-in ND filter, which this could be used in auto mode or 3 different user-determined levels. Now this is, of course, one of the things I really admire about this camera. The camera also has optical lens stabilization. Now this is going to help you get sharp photos and smooth videos. And it really has an impressive ISO range from 100 to 51,200. Now this is expandable level all the way up to a whopping 1.6,040,000. Now, fast and accurate autofocus system, which is a hybrid system that uses contrast detect and phase detect autofocus points. The autofocus system, which is one of the things I really like about this camera as well, is really fast and locks on. Now, it does have object tracking capability, so this includes eye autofocus for humans and animals. Now, on the back is a touchscreen LCD with 921,600 dots of resolution. Now, the screen is roughly about 3 inches, and as you can see here, it flips outward so you can see yourself as you film without any obstructions. Now, connectivity includes a microphone jack on the side, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, as well as micro USB terminal, a high-speed USB port, and a micro HDMI, and a multi-interface shoe up on the top. And speaking about the top, you have a directional 3-capsule microphone is included along with a windscreen, which I don't have it here, but it does slide into this and covers, it becomes a dead cat on top of the mic, which works very well. Now, this is rated for around 260 still images on a single charge, about 75 minutes of video. Now, you can charge the camera via USB while it's in use as well. Now, this thing is only 4.3 by 2.4 by 1.8 inches, and the body, now without the handle here, only weighs about 9.5 ounces. So this thing is really, really light. Now, this is priced at $748 at the moment, which usually they advertise it at $798. Okay, now with the specs and features out of the way, I'm going to refer to my trusty notes here in terms of my likes and dislikes. So, one of the things off the get-go that really I enjoy about this camera is the battery life. Now, this is, you know what's funny about this? This is a 1240 milliamp battery. So these are relatively small batteries, and this is a third-party battery. Now, in the initial video that I did in terms of talking about how to level this camera up here, I spoke about I've been able to get, and I did a test, and I actually shared that test on the video there. I was able to get upwards of about 53 minutes, or close to 54 minutes out of a single battery, and that was shooting 4K 30, if I recall. So the battery life out of this camera is really, it's actually pretty good. And another thing that I'd like to point out here that I really enjoy about this camera is, especially when I factor in a lot of the videos that I do on a weekly basis, being able to be as efficient as I can in Final Cut, which is the program that I use to edit my videos on. Having a streamlined process is really important. So where I'm leading with this is I love it, the stock color profile that comes out of this camera. That makes editing this footage an absolute breeze. And one other thing that I was just thinking about that I absolutely really enjoy about this camera, now granted, it's an item that you have to pick up separately with it, or unless I believe it comes in a kit. So aside from the price of this thing, which is absolutely ridiculous, I love this little hand grip that you can pick up, made by Sony for this thing here. Let me spin that around. Boom, boom, boom. So I was thinking about talking about the front-facing LCD, which is really nice with this. But while I'm talking about that front-facing LCD, which when you're out and about and you want to keep yourself in frame, it's really nice. I like that they put it off to the side versus flipping up. Some of the old Sonys I had in the past, they would either flip down or would flip up. And that makes it kind of a pain in the ass, because if you have a mic, which I don't have one on me right now, but if you have a mic up here, then the mic is covering the LCD screen, and so it's kind of difficult to see yourself in frame. Versus some of them will flip downwards, which then as you can see, that doesn't work either. So the fact that it's off to the right there is very nice as well. But going back to this little grip thing, handle that they have, which serves as a little tripod and all sorts of cool stuff with it. But as you can see here, you have all sorts of buttons that you can adjust, from turning on the recording to adjusting zoom, taking photos, all that other fun stuff. All right, the next thing that I really like in this camera, which I don't have a memory card in here, is you have a red light that turns on when you start recording. So again, when you're out there recording, and nothing's worse than shooting a clip and realize, damn it, I didn't have the record button on, or something happened to it. And especially as you're going to find out in the dislikes in a moment, out of the box, one of the things that I disliked about this camera, which I'll share with you now because you can see how this ties in, is that it had a 5-minute timer on it out of the box. And that was Sony put that in there for this thing to prevent itself from overheating. So if that red light wasn't there, I would have no idea that the thing wasn't recording any longer. And when I first got it, I didn't notice to pay attention much to the red light. And so I would be 10 minutes into this thing, and that's when I really started appreciating, that red light's there for a reason. And as soon as that popped off, I would restart where I needed to from a shooting standpoint. So that red light there is a absolute rock star. Then jumping over on the side here, there is a mic port. So rather than being limited to whatever mic was on the camera, which a lot of these kind of smaller size cameras generally have, you can actually have a external mic. And you guys know me, I love my Rode mic, so I'm able to run either the wireless goes, or I'll put one of the shotgun mics on top of this thing, and it makes a world of difference. It really takes that 4K footage and steps up that audio to really, it does a really great job. Now, the next feature that I really like on this camera is the fact that it has a built-in ND filter. And the reason why that's really important is if you've shot with any of these smaller cameras like this, most of them don't have a built-in ND filter. And because there's no screw-on the front of these lenses, that really makes it a pain in the butt to be able to get an ND filter on a camera like this. And the fact that it's built in there, and then of course by setting some of the custom buttons, which I covered this in that other video I was talking about, I can just click this and it turns on the ND filter for me, or I have the ability to turn it on and off or put it into auto. That's really slick. And then last but not least, one of the things that I've never really cared for with Sony cameras has been the menu system. The menu system in this camera is actually very intuitive. It's very easy to navigate wherever I need to, and it's different than what I had expected. So this camera was a big surprise to me. I've hinted in a handful of photos recently or videos that I've been testing this camera out for the last 60 days, and it has turned into one of my favorite B-roll cameras. So you'll notice that when I'm out and about, and I may use it not only for getting that first-person view with myself, but also in a number of videos where I'm interviewing people, I will use this camera as my kind of that first-person view as I'm following them around with what I'm doing. It works really well. The large LCD on the back of this works really great. Because prior to this, I would use like a GoPro following somebody around, which again does a great job, but you're very limited in what you can see. And then of course the screen usually shuts off after like 5 minutes to save battery in a GoPro, which is not as good on consumption as this camera. So with this here, I can follow around. I have a larger screen. It works out really well. So those are the things that really stick with me very well about this camera. Now, after 60 days, let's discuss a few of the things that I don't like about this camera. And I said a few things because it turns out there's only 3 things I don't care about this thing. When I first got out of the box, I hated the 5-minute timer. We've already discussed that. You can actually fix that from within the camera. And if you want to learn how to do that, I'll put a link in the description below to that video that shows you how you can actually change that 5-minute timer. The next thing on here that I don't care for is the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack. And so when I'm out there, I like to be able to check my audio levels, make sure the audio sounds good. They put the mic on here, which is great. It's fantastic. But it would have been really nice to have a headphone jack in there so you can at least check your audio when you're out in the field. One of the other things that I don't like or didn't like about this camera out of the box is it has a 2870 fixed lens on it, and which I discussed this in that other video as well. So I'm using a Ulanzi WL1 wide angle lens adapter for this thing, and you have this 3M double-sided tape that goes below or underneath this plate that is stuck to the front of this lens. And it converts the 2870, the 2470 to a 18 millimeter, which is perfect for getting kind of that vlogging style where you have a little bit more negative space around your face. Otherwise, it just feels a little too tight. So while that negative has a inexpensive fix, so it's something that I had to go out there and pick up. I paid $49 for this Ulanzi WL1, but it's one of the best investments. Again, it converted this camera into something that I would think would be problematic. And honestly speaking, if this wide angle lens was not available, I would not be categorizing this camera as the best budget-friendly camera, because from a vlogging standpoint, from a videography standpoint, mainly for people that want to create content, 24 is a little too wide, at least in my opinion. 18 is a lot more manageable. So when you factor pricing, when I picked this up, it was on sale for $648 at Adorama. It's normally $748, and that's where I think it is right now. Plus the WL1 wide angle adapter from Ulanzi, which is 49 bucks, so you're up to 8 bills right there. The handle, I think that was 100 bucks, I want to say. But either way, you know, still you're in a very affordable price bracket there. But other than that, guys, there's really not much that I don't like about this camera. Again, I've spent the last 60 days with it. Really wanted to spend quite a bit of time with it, and realizing that, hey, this thing really packs a good punch. And normally when I picked this up, it was meant to be, okay, I'll shoot some videos with it, because a lot of you were asking for budget-friendly camera, and we saw a lot of noise on the ZV-1. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to like this camera. I figured I'd just hammer out the review of it, and then I would do some sort of giveaway or, you know, did something with this. But no, I'm going to keep this camera. I absolutely love it and see it as a great tool in my camera bag for 2022. All right, guys, that's it for today's discussion on the Sony ZV-1. Now let's end up this video by discussing our current giveaway. We have 3 prizes this time around. We have the f-stop Lotus bag. We have the Peak Design duffel bag. We have the $100 Adorama gift card. As always, entering the giveaway is really simple. Step 1, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Step 2, leave a comment below. In fact, the more of our videos that you watch and leave a comment on, the more chances that you have to win. So keep watching some more other videos and leave some comments. Step 3, register on Photography Talk and introduce yourself in the forum. Now, if you already registered on the site during one of our last giveaways, you're still eligible to win. But friend, as I keep saying over and over again, swing by, say hello, post some photos. Hell, we'd love to see you. And that is it. For complete details on the giveaway, including how to register on Photography Talk and how to say hello in the forum, check out the description below. Good luck. And guys, one last thing before we go jumping off here. If you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to head over to Photography Talk, sign up for a free account. It's free to do so, and it gives you access to literally thousands of photography related articles on the site, including news, gear reviews, photography tutorials, and far, far more. So take a moment, sign up for an account, and get access to material that will certainly help you take your best shot. Okay, friend, that is it for the best budget camera for 2022 or 60-day review of the ZV-1, however you want to dissect this video. But it's that time of the video where I'm going to ask you to do all that YouTube stuff that really does help the channel. If you found some value with this video, you hit that like button. If you're currently not subscribed to the channel, friend, what are you waiting for? We would love to have you part of the family. And last but not least, kick that bell so therefore you're notified every single time that we come out with a new video. Friends, yeah, I'm going to be jumping out of the studio, so you get out there, stay healthy, and take your best shot.